our good friend Jim Peterson. Jim?
There you go.
Jonny Voss, how you doing, bud?
Good. How you doing, sir?
This is my first time guest getting up, moving over, and me sitting down.
Isn't that great? We can just order them all around all the time. Now, I hope you don't mind. I instituted you in my game. I found this game at my parents' house from '87.
How do you like that?
And well, I gotta ask you some things because I substituted you for Buck Williams. Yeah, Buck Williams is on. I put Jim Peterson in.
Good choice. Good choice.
But now, pardon my youth. Pardon the fact that my parents didn't get cable until I was 12 years old.
How old are you, first of all, Jonny? I got to put you in a category. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
You're 30 years old. Okay.
So, I missed a majority of the Jim Peterson years on
okay. Well, if you blinked, you missed it. So I mean,
well,
you know.
For a younger generation, we know Jim Peterson, the sports broadcaster, but
That's
not
right.
Jim Peterson, the player. And I'm wondering,
did I shoot over 70% from the free throw line? Come on.
68%.
No, it's over 70. Come on.
And they have you as a better shooter than Hakeem Olajuwon and Rodney McCray.
Numbers, it's like Flip Saunders always says, the truth is not controversial. So you know that numbers don't lie. There we go.
Okay. NBA Finals. I got a question for you.
Okay.
And obviously you know just a little bit more than I do. But are you as bored with the NBA Finals right now as I am? Not at all.
No, I'm
Why
a fan.
is that?
I'm a fan of the game.
Through it.
I'm a fan of the game. You know, I'm one of those guys. I can watch. You know, I coach 7th grade girls basketball in San Diego. You know, so I believe me, I can be entertained by it. You know, hey, I got a 9-year-old little boy. And at home, and we shoot for hours. I love the game, and so I look at a player like Jason Kidd, who is the best player at what he does. I mean, at the point guard position, you will not find a finer all-around player than Jason Kidd. So you watch him; he's an artist on the floor. You know, you watch a guy like Tim Duncan. In fact, my 9-year-old little boy Sanjay, just last night we were sitting there watching the game, and he's like, me and my friend Alejandro, we hate Tim Duncan because he plays so boring. You know. But Tim Duncan is so effective. When you watch him on the court, he is poetry in motion. One of the things we always talk about in terms of low post operation is maximum efficiency, minimum effort. Tim Duncan is the personification of that very point. And he gets things done so efficiently without having to use a lot of motion, a lot of over-exaggerated type dribble moves and such. And I just like the artistry of the game. And I think these two teams, in terms of a finals matchup, were the best two teams. New Jersey was the best team in the East. The San Antonio Spurs were the best team since the 1st of January in the West. And I'm enjoying it a lot.
Okay, we have a call. Hold on one second. Roscoe from Roseville. Go ahead, Roscoe. Peak Hole Train.
Roscoe. I don't know a guy named Roscoe. I don't know anybody named Roscoe.
Well,
where'd you find the white kid from Vadnais Heights to scratch records for you, too, by the way? Are you from Vadnais Heights?
I think I was there once.
All right.
Well, apparently Roscoe is not coming in. So I'm going to keep going. Now, as a Wolves fan, I got to ask you this. Do we have a right to be angry about the fact that the Spurs have 2 #1 picks overall, and yet they seem to be able to say...
Do they have 2 #1 picks this year? I didn't see it.
Robinson and Duncan are overall. I'm saying on their roster.
Right.
We have
they lucked out with Duncan because it should have been Boston's.
Okay. But now here's what I get really upset by. They're in their 2nd NBA Finals in the last 4 years, and they're talking about having their pick and choose of a point guard where they're saying maybe Kidd is going to come in, maybe Gary Payton is, and yet they've got Tony Parker, who is incredible. In my opinion, I would love to see Parker, and he's so young. Do we have a right to be that angry?
I think that when you look at Tony Parker, was the last player chosen in the 1st round his draft here 2 years ago. So he was selected 28 because Minnesota didn't have a 1st round pick that year. So there's 29 teams in the NBA. He was selected 28. They also got Manu Ginobili, the last pick of the 2nd round, Wally Zerbiak's year, 99.
Right.
And so you luck out with those two guys. Tony Parker, this is why scouting is so important, and I think that if the Wolves have one thing where they could get better at, I think the scouting situation, because now when you look at it, Johnny, is that you've got a global game now. You've got to literally scour 6 of the 7 continents for players, okay? That means your reach has got to be tremendous. You also have to predict whether or not an 18-year-old in high school can play the game, okay? You've also got to predict whether a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior can play the game. It used to be just college seniors, okay? It was way more easy to quantify and be able to tell. The Tony Parkers of the world, those are the guys you got to find. You know, when the Manu Ginobili's of the world, I mean, he's from South America, right? Right. He was playing over in Italy. Those are the guys you got to find. And for the Wolves, I think, to be able to, without first-round draft picks because of the Joe Smith situation, you got to have scouts that can go and scour, evaluate talent, and get them on your roster.
Okay, great. Now, we do have that call. Is this still Roscoe in Roseville?
Yeah, Jim, yeah, this is Roscoe from Roseville.
Roscoe.
Look, as a former Gopher player, I'm wondering, is Rick Rickard doing the right thing by going pro? I mean, he's awfully skinny, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know,
and I want to, in addition to that, I mean, to me, a huge Gopher fan, I've seen that movie before, Khalid El-Amin, and the sequel with Joel Prisbilla. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's a great point. I mean, you know, you look at past history. You know, Khalid El-Amin, you know, goes to, you know, Connecticut, has a great, you know, year. They win the national championship with Rip Hamilton. You know, he decides to go pro early. That was a bad mistake for Khalid because, you know, he just was too small, wasn't quick enough to be able to transition. I think when you look at Joel Prisbilla, could have been one of the greatest shot blockers in Big Ten history if he played all 4 years. Big disappointment in the NBA so far, even though he got paid, you know. And with Rick Rickard.
Will he ever be a player in the NBA?
I think, you know, George Karl likes him. But whether or not he can see, he was hurt all year long now. I just think it's been a whole soap opera with him. With Rick, though, I sat down with Rick. In fact, Michael Thompson, former Timberwolves television analyst, he's in LA now with the Lakers. Boo, you know.
Right. Kobe was a ball hog. Did you see that?
But Michael and I sat down with Rick, and we talked with him, and we said, you know, Rick, there's going to be a lot of players coming out because they're going to change. They're going to try to have that mandatory draft age limit to 20, and a lot of guys are going to come out, both from Europe and in the college ranks now. And this is not a great time for you because there's going to be an overabundance of players coming out this year. Wait one more season, get stronger, work on your game, and get a little bit better. But he decided to make the decision. He felt he was ready. And I hope he goes in the first round because if you're drafted in the first round, Johnny, as you know, you get a guaranteed contract. If you're drafted in the second round, nothing's guaranteed to you.
What do you think chances are?
It's hit or miss. He's going to be a probably down in the latter third, anywhere from 20 to 29, and then potentially he could be even drop into the second round. It depends.
Ready for it, though? I mean,
I don't think Rick is ready.
Size and strength is
yeah,
you know,
that's a good point. Strength is important, and you know what it seems like what the league has turned into. It's turned into a cash cow for guys who want to get paid versus what it used to be. And you know this. And for instance, I was drafted in '84. My draft was probably the greatest draft year in the history of the NBA. I came in with Elijah Wan, who was drafted 1, Jordan, who was drafted 3, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Kevin Willis, who's still playing, Sam Perkins, and so when guys came exactly when guys came into the league, they were pretty mature and ready to go. You know. And you had a whole bunch of fundamental teaching. Now what's going on is there's a lot of AAU basketball going on. Kids aren't going to camps anymore. They aren't learning the fundamentals. They're going to none or 1 or 2 years of college, so they aren't getting the benefit of having to be the man and sort of graduate from level to level to level where, like Kevin Garnett, for instance, it's taken Kevin 6 to 7 years to get to be the leader that he is right now because he went from high school, he never learned how to play and be the man at that intermediate level, and he didn't have those skills. He's got them now, but it took him 7 years to get there. Yeah,
and that's what I'm wondering about someone like LeBron James. You know, with Garnett, I wanted to fast forward 5 years and go, I want that now. You know, and I thank you for your time.
Jonny Voss, it was a pleasure being here and meeting you, man.